Welcome to the deep dive.
Okay, as we get closer to the really crucial 2025 NFL training camp, we're going to peel back the layers a bit. Look at those strategic, sometimes kind of hidden decisions that, really shape a team's future.
Yeah, the stuff that doesn't always make the big headlines, but can totally change a team's direction. Those under the radar moves.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating is trying to dissect those chess moves, right? The little nudges that show you what a team is really thinking.
So today, this deep dive, we're unpacking the Jacksonville Jaguars' 2025 offseason strategy. We'll look at their sort of measured approach, but maybe more surprisingly, identify a couple of players who are looking like pretty logical trade candidates.
Right, candidates you might not immediately think of just because of how the roster is evolving.
Precisely. And it's all based on insights from a really detailed piece over on Yardbarker, which originally came from NFL on Clutch Points.
So yeah, get ready to look beyond the flashy signings and the big draft picks. We're diving into the quiet, calculated stuff. Okay, so setting the scene for the Jags offseason. The article points out they really went for stability, didn't they? Not huge, splashy free agent signings.
No, more about reinforcing positions, bringing in those mid-level veterans to replace guys who left.
And a really significant departure we have to mention is Evan Engram, the tight end. Standout player.
Oh, absolutely. Losing him leaves a big hole, doesn't it? Not just production, but that specific kind of versatile pass catcher.
Yeah, so they had to figure out how to address that. Maybe not with another star, but through other means, which kind of leads into their next big move.
Right. So after that sort of measured free agency, focusing on steady reinforcements, the new GM, James Gladstone, he made a really bold statement in the draft.
He sure did. Aggressively trading up.
Yeah.
All the way to number 2 overall. That's a massive statement.
Huge commitment. And who did they take?
Travis Hunter. I mean, this guy's talked about as a potential unicorn in today's league. A true two-way player.
Cornerback and wide receiver. That's pretty rare at an elite level.
Very rare. And it wasn't cheap either. Cost them a second-rounder this year and their first-round pick in 2026.
Wow. So what does that signal, giving up that much draft capital?
Well, it signals a pretty fearless new regime, right? One that's willing to pay a steep price to address multiple needs, potentially, with one player.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes about their long-term thinking, maybe.
Definitely shifts the dynamic, especially when you think about, the Trevor Lawrence imperative.
Absolutely. Hunter's versatility, theoretically, offers immediate upside for Lawrence. He's still the centerpiece, obviously.
And they brought in Liam Cohen as the new head coach. He had that great year with Baker Mayfield in Tampa, got him to the Pro Bowl.
The expectation is he can do something similar for Lawrence, tailor the offense, elevate his game. Owner Shad Khan basically said Lawrence is everything to the team's success.
Which really puts the pressure on, doesn't it, for Lawrence? I mean, 2025 feels critical. He's had flashes, but also inconsistency, injuries.
Yeah, since being picked number 1 in 2021, it hasn't been totally smooth sailing. So this year, it feels like he really needs to cement himself, show that consistency, that leadership. It's a make or break, kind of.
So, okay, they make this huge trade, bring in Cohen, focus is clearly on Lawrence. What's the risk here? Is Gladstone maybe betting too much on youth, especially for such a critical year for the QB?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting, like you said. Because while everyone's looking at Hunter, looking at Lawrence, the way the roster is shifting brings a couple of other guys into focus.
That's potential trade bait.
Exactly. Logical candidates, even if they're not the first names to jump out. And it's not just about clearing space, It feels like a strategic double down on this youth movement.
Valuing future upside over maybe some proven depth right now.
That's the gamble, isn't it? In a league that demands wins now.
So who are we talking about?
All right, let's get into it. Candidate number 1, according to the article, it's tight end Johnny Munt. A bit surprising, maybe. He's listed as the second-string guy behind Brenton Strange. Yeah, that's his spot on the depth chart now. But the key thing is the team's pretty clear investment in the younger tight ends. They really want to develop Strange as the main guy.
Okay, so that limits Munt's opportunities.
Significantly limits his snap count, his long-term role there. But he still has value on the market, right? He's a veteran, solid blocker, reliable hands.
So good depth for another team.
Exactly. Especially a team needing a reliable backup, maybe in run-heavy schemes or for short yardage. He becomes, like the article says, a sneaky but logical candidate. Trading him frees up that roster spot, maybe brings back a late pick or helps elsewhere.
Makes sense. All about optimizing for their youth movement. Okay, candidate number 2. Wide receiver Joshua Cphus. The article paints him as a buried 5th string behind Parker Washington and Diami Brown even.
Yeah, it's a very crowded receiver room. You've got Brian Thomas Jr., the first rounder from last year.
And now Hunter, who's going to demand snaps on offense too.
Right. And the piece even mentions Austin Trammell potentially taking snaps from Cphus as well. So it's tough sledding for him to get meaningful playing time.
So even if he has potential, there's just no clear path for him right now in Jacksonville.
It seems that way. Look, Cohen's system, pushing for immediate success with Lawrence, it probably demands guys who can make an impact right away. Developmental guys like Cphus, even if they have upside, might be a luxury they feel they can't afford.
Trading him helps manage that logjam, maybe gets them another asset?
Precisely. And for another team looking for young receivers to develop, Cphus could be, you know, quietly intriguing, as the article puts it. It fits that pattern of optimizing the roster for their specific goals right now.
Okay, so as we head into training camp, what should we be watching for? How do we see if these potential moves are actually, going to happen? This camp sounds pivotal.
Oh, absolutely pivotal. Integrating all this new talent, refining things under Cohen. Obviously, a huge spotlight is going to be on Travis Hunter. How do they use him?
The two-way thing, right?
Yeah. The expectation is they'll ramp him up gradually. Maybe early on, it's just offense one session, defense the next. But once the pads come on, that's when we'll really see how aggressive they plan to be deploying him on both sides.
And Lawrence, of course, always under the microscope. His health is huge after last year.
Huge. And his chemistry with the new guys, Hunter, Brown, that connection or lack thereof could really define their offense. Can he stay healthy? Can he click with them?
But for guys like Munt and Cphus, it's less about just pure performance, maybe.
Yeah, the article suggests it's more about roster fit. Given the youth movement, given the specific strategies, how much do they value immediate development potential versus just having experience depth? That's the tension there.
And the piece strongly hints that one or both could be moved before camp wraps up. It allows them to focus on that core group they're building.
Right. It ties back to those bold moves behind the scenes. The Hunter trade grabbed headlines, sure. But these quieter potential moves, dealing Munt or Cphus, they're part of that same strategic streamlining.
Getting value, clearing space.
Yep. And you look at their schedule for 2025, early home games, tough travel later. They need every roster spot optimized. There's really no room for players who don't fit the immediate plan.
So trading these guys gives them flexibility, maybe cap space, helps them keep chasing those AFC South hopes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've got the new regime, the hopeful franchise QB, this bold draft strategy. It makes this training camp fascinating. It's going to be competition, sure, but also these calculated moves happening off the field, a really strategic season ahead for them.
So I guess the big takeaway here is, yeah, blockbuster moves are exciting, but successful teams, long-term success anyway, it's often built on this kind of smart behind-the-scenes roster shuffling, optimizing for the future.
It's those less obvious decisions, isn't it? The ones that don't make the splashy news alerts.
Exactly, which kind of makes you wonder, right, for you listening, think about any organization, sports team, business, whatever. How often is it those quieter, less obvious strategic choices, the ones nobody talks about much at the time, that actually end up driving real long-term success? Something to chew on as we watch teams like the Jags make their moves.